Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
The great Indian COVID vaccine rollout has started. Now, our health minister has said this is the greatest, largest vaccine rollout in the world, and everybody acknowledges it. In fact, we also find a lot in the international media commentariat talking about India's great depth in its vaccination infrastructure and also in its vaccine producing infrastructure. But having said that, let me also say that India's performance so far in the first 2 days, or let's say 2.5 days, because Sunday was only a partial day, has been underwhelming. You know what's been overwhelming? What's been overwhelming is the way India has fought the pandemic. So if you look at the data on every indicator, that is cases per million, that is fatalities, touch wood, fingers crossed, per million, that is recovery rate, hospitalizations, patients on ventilator, patients needing oxygen, India's rate has been the lowest by far for a large country in the world. Now that may be because of demographics, that may be because of some other immunity issues that we don't know enough about. That may be due to what the CSIR said in its report, that we are exposed to more infections as we are growing up. So we don't know. But it could also be because India carried out a really tough lockdown. It damaged our economy greatly, but at the same time it's possible that it pushed the virus back. It may not have prevented a lot of infections, but it pushed the virus back. So by the time the virus did come into India and spread into India, by that time the knowledge levels on how to deal with virus and the sickness had improved greatly. So remember, it was only somewhere around July that the world discovered that steroids were a way of saving patients of severe COVID, and that worked better than putting them on ventilators right away. Anyway, whatever the reason, India's performance in managing infections, in managing testing, that's most important in today's contest, and managing fatalities has been phenomenal. So all doomsayers have been proven wrong so far. I keep saying fingers crossed because countries have seen COVID come back and strike them. You should never be arrogant and say I've defeated COVID. You haven't. But so far, overwhelming performance. And I would say that there were very few people at that point when it started, among them yours truly, who risked their necks. In my case, my particularly delicate neck, because I'm easily attacked by either side, to say that a lot of the doomsaying scenarios on India were probably not going to be right. People don't understand India's resilience and India's sense of organization. So having done that overwhelmingly, why is our performance on our vaccination program, which was launched by the Prime Minister with such great fanfare, why has that been so underwhelming? Now, how underwhelming? I will tell you. These are early days. This is only the third day, but data right now is not encouraging. So first of all, I will tell you what has happened in Delhi until around say 4 o'clock today. We'll update it as we go along, but until 4 o'clock, there's an indication and there's a comparison with what had happened on Saturday, on the 16th, on the day the vaccination program started. So my colleague Anisha Bedi, who covers Delhi government, she has given me the data until around 4 o'clock today and Saturday. So look at the major government hospitals of Delhi, and it's very instructive because it tells us a story. If you look at Lok Nayak Jayaprakash Narayan Hospital, now that is Delhi's preeminent hospital where COVID cases have been treated. In fact, more than 10,000 cases have been treated there, and they've done a heroic job. Do you know how many people have come in to take their shots today? These are health workers and doctors. Only 10 people until 4 o'clock. Only 10 people. The hospital, every hospital in Delhi government hospital has budgeted for 100 vaccinations per day right now. But of the 100, until 4 o'clock, only 10 had come. That's very poor. Even on Saturday, all of Saturday, only 32 had come. Now, this is the premier Delhi government hospital, Lok Nayak Jayaprakash Narayan, which is also attached to a big postgraduate medical college, Maulana Azad Medical College. So this is very disappointing. But look at some of the others. Look at Rajiv Gandhi Super Speciality Hospital. And I will also tell you what each hospital is giving. So LNJP is giving Covishield, which is a Serum Institute, AstraZeneca, Oxford University vaccine. 32 on Saturday, 10 today until 4 o'clock. Rajiv Gandhi Super Speciality Hospital, 45 on Saturday, only 17 today by 4 p.m. Then Ram Manohar Lohia Hospital, again a big central government hospital, which is giving Covaxin. That is the vaccine from Bharat Biotech, which has been cleared after second phase results. Third phase results are still awaited, and that's a controversial one. So RML with Covaxin, RML by the way treated the first cases of COVID in Delhi. They got 31 volunteers among their staff to take the shot on Saturday. Today they've got just 42. Guru Tegh Bahadur Hospital, once again 31 on Saturday. Today 24. In each case the target is 100 a day. So this is really very poor for hospitals. Gangaram has done a bit better, in fact considerably better, Gangaram Hospital of Delhi. So on Saturday they had 88. Today they had 61 till around 334. So hopefully they will get to that figure of about 48. And then you have Institute of Liver and Biliary Studies that had 80 the other day on Saturday. Today they've already crossed 50, so maybe they will get somewhere there. So this looks very disappointing. Now if you want to see what's happening elsewhere, and you will then see why I'm using the expression for this, underwhelming, and why there is a sense of disappointment, and then we'll go into why we think this is happening and some examples and instances of phobia of science, of anti-vaxxer psychologies. I will come to that. But look at some of your states. Karnataka, state where India's scientific establishment is located, Indian Institute of Science, so many other labs, JNSR, they are all located in Karnataka. Only 22% came in by around 4 o'clock. This is when 22,256 were budgeted today to be vaccinated. Only 4,804 had come. Today, they had budgeted for 81,264 vaccinations. They only finished 27,812. That means only that many people came. That is just 34%. So that means 2 out of 3 were not yet convinced of taking the shots. And these are all medical and health personnel, doctors and health personnel. They are setting a very bad example to the rest, to the ordinary folks. So then you look at the state which you thought would have been the bravest and been the most forthcoming on this. Punjab. Look at Punjab. It is a disaster. Punjab on the 16th on Saturday only reached 22%. That means in Punjab also 4 out of 5 chickened out. They did not take the vaccine, and these are not once again ordinary folk. These are health and medical personnel who are supposed to know better. And if they avoid the shots, then it scares other people, ordinary folk, a lot more, because they think that, look, even the doctors are not convinced. Why should I go ahead and take it? So in Punjab, on the 16th, 5,853 were targeted. Only 1,319 took their shots. Today in Punjab, until around 4 o'clock, they did a bit better, but not that much better. They did a bit better. They targeted 6,021. They had reached 1,620, and I said they still did a bit better because this was the number of 26%. So by around 4 o'clock today, still 3 out of the 4 who were to come and take the shots had not taken the shots. And remember, this is Punjab. This is an outgoing state. This is also a state where people are known to not be fearful of things. Also, it's the state, which is very important point to make, it is the state with the highest per million population mortality from COVID in the country. Not only is the state with the highest mortality rate in the country on a per million basis, its mortality rate is twice as high, in fact a little over twice as high as the national average. In spite of that you have this, but then you also see reports from Punjab about poor discipline with masks and things, and you know, it is something that I'm even afraid of saying these days because people impute political motives to these. But see all these pictures and videos and visuals of the farm protests. Bulk of these people, protesters, are from Punjab. How many people do you see wearing masks? So that tells you that while on the masks you see recklessness, at the same time with the vaccine you see fear, or maybe that's recklessness again कि हमें कुछ नहीं होगा, nothing happens, कुछ नहीं होता, right? But state, so I have deliberately picked out Karnataka and Punjab because one state is the home of Indian science, the other state has the highest mortality rate, and yet you have these terrible figures from these states. There are states that are doing very well. Gujarat has done very well. Gujarat on the first day was 91%. UP on the first day was not bad at all. It was 71%. Some of these states have a break today from vaccination because they are figuring out their supply chain, and also in some of the states the app is not working. Those are teething troubles. Those things will happen. Those are hiccups. But that is different from people not turning up to take the shots. That is our concern. And people not turning up to take the shots is something that is spreading because you find in your public debate, discussions, a lot more skepticism coming in about the vaccines. Have the vaccines been tested enough? Has India taken enough precautions? Are these being pushed too fast? Is there vaccine nationalism? And if there's vaccine nationalism, तो मैं क्यों शहीद हूँ? Let someone else become martyr. Why should I become martyr? Why should I be first? So that kind of psychology is building in, which is not very nice. Now I will tell you what is vaccine hesitancy, because it's a phenomenon that science acknowledges called vaccine hesitancy. If you go to the WHO website, you will also find a definition of this. Now, I will not read the entire detail, but I will tell you basically what does it mean. It means delay in acceptance or refusal of vaccines despite availability, which is exactly what's happening in India right now. Vaccine available hai, but doctors, nurses, hospital staff are not going. In a state like Punjab, Karnataka, 4 out of 5 at one point on Saturday did not go, and that's how it looks like even today. Terrible. Then WHO goes on to tell us that there are the reasons behind this hesitancy are complex and they are context specific. Depends on the time, place, and the type of vaccines and your faith in the science behind those vaccines. That's very important. Then they list 3 C's which make people hesitant about vaccines. These 3's are complacency, बाद में लगवा लेंगे, अभी क्या जल्दी है, happens to all of us, right? Because nobody likes a prick, right? You don't even like an ant biting you, so why should you want a prick? It's only babies who have no choice because parents take them and put them in front of doctors, right? So they say 3 C's: complacency, convenience, who will go and stand in a queue and get it done? Can't they come to my home and do it? So complacency, convenience. So you will then also say, I'll wait. Why should I go in a rush? I can go a month later. So complacency, convenience, and confidence. What we are most concerned about at this point is confidence. Now, if you look at the state of the world right now, it's one thing to say that the end of the pandemic has started. That is what our leaders have also said. You might say the end of the pandemic has started. It is true that with this vaccination program in the world, end of the pandemic has started. But look at the enormity of the challenge. If India vaccinates 1 lakh a day, it will take forever for India to vaccinate all the vulnerable populations, that is about 30 crore people. In any case, those below 18 and women who are expecting are not to be given the vaccine right now because its safety has not been proven yet in their case. So if you take that population out, that gives you a base of about 85-90 crore in India. It's a lot of people. Again, if you put frontline personnel, doctors, then those above 50, those suffering from serious comorbidities, that number comes to another 27%. So 30 crore, even if you vaccinate 1 million a day, 10 lakh a day, in a month, you will only vaccinate, say, 30 plus crores. So even to get to your figure of 30 crores will take you more than a year. So it cannot work at this speed. The speed has to pick up. And look at the rest of the world, what they have done. As we speak, the figure until the end of 17th January, that is until the evening of Sunday across the world, the figure was more than 4 crore vaccines. More than 4 crore vaccines had already been administered. Today, by the end of closing hours all over the world, the number is sure to exceed 5 crore. So 5 crore vaccines. India until 17th evening had done just 2,24,000. India started vaccinations late for its own reasons. Today, maybe India will end up with about 3,20,000. That is too slow. Look at some of the other countries. Look at Israel. Israel has done 2.8 million. That is 28 lakh, 28 lakhs. That is 30% of Israel's population. Frankly, Israel has now vaccinated almost everybody over the age of 60. So they've done a great job. It's a small population of just about 90 lakhs, but still they have now pushed 2.8 million vaccines. USA is, everybody makes fun of the US. It's still under Trump's presidency. The US has already administered more than 13 million, more than 1 crore 30 lakh vaccines. What that means is that more than 3%, more than 3% of America's population is already vaccinated, and it's now going on at the rate of 1 million plus a day. UK, the country is so badly hit by COVID, and a population of just about 5.5 crores or thereabouts, a small population country, has also administered 4.6 million vaccines as of today. And Turkey, which is again not a large population, also, and not a European country or in the Western sense, but still 7.68 lakhs as of yesterday. Maybe by today they will get to 1 million. So India is far behind all of them. In fact, Germany, France, Italy, Russia, they've all crossed 1 million, and China, just until yesterday, China had already crossed 10 million. That is 1 crore. So this tells you China, America in the front and with 13 million, China second at 10 million. It tells you that India has a lot of catching up to do. Why should there be vaccine hesitancy in a country like India, which has always been forthcoming when it comes to scientific interventions or medical interventions in disease? India has embraced all vaccination programs from smallpox to polio very wholeheartedly. In fact, the anti-vaxxer movement took birth in America. It was in the 18th century in America that they come up with these ideas that, and the first resistance, as usual, to science came from religion. It goes right back to ancient times, but you can check out Galileo, for example. So the religious groups in America said that this is devil's work, that vaccines are devil's work. Then by 19th century, they began saying this is a violation of human rights. And then something happened. In 1998, the Lancet, which is a respectable, the most respectable, I would say, among the most respectable medical journals, they published a paper which said that there is a link between MMR vaccines that babies are given, that is mumps, measles and rubella, and rising cases of autism. When that happened, that spread a scare. That was research done by a researcher called Andrew Wakefield. In 2004, however, the Lancet withdrew that paper, saying that there were major flaws in it. And then British Medical Journal carried out research and published a paper saying that this fraud was deliberate, and that this doctor, Andrew Wakefield, actually had many nasty conflicts of interest, including the fact that he was party to a litigation to claim compensation for damage done by MMR vaccines. So the paper was withdrawn. In fact, the British authorities also withdrew this doctor, Andrew Wakefield's license to practice. After that, another research came out which was published globally, that is to end this vaccine skepticism and the scaremongering which had happened because of this fake research by Andrew Wakefield, fake, discredited and withdrawn research by Andrew Wakefield. And that was a systematic review in 2020, just last year, of 138 studies globally involving 23 million. That is 2 crore 30 lakh kids that showed there was no link between vaccination, MMR vaccination, and rising cases of autism or encephalitis. But even then, that anti-vaxxers lobby persists. Even this year, a lot of children in America have suffered from measles because their parents denied them vaccination. So this is something that goes on all over the world. But India, on the other hand, has had a very different record. In fact, look at the polio success. At this age, I have had to take my polio shots. You know why? Polio shots means polio drops, because you drink them. Why? Because every time you go to Pakistan, every time you go to some parts of Africa, you are made to take those polio drops, because those countries are still not polio free. But India is today polio free because India welcomed that vaccine. There was no resistance, whether it was religious or it was a kind of fear of science. So WHO lists and other websites also, I'm sharing some documents with you. They talk about the various reasons people give for avoiding vaccines. One is, look, this disease is already declining. So you've seen a lot. You saw something for Pooja Bedi, who's a well-known figure from popular culture, who said that many people are not being killed. What's the point? And a lot of people say that. So some people say it's already declining, cases are going down. तो जाना है तो इसको जाने दो, अभी अपने टीका क्यों लगवाना है? Some say, look, most people who would have got sick have already taken the shot, so why should I take it? Maybe I can avoid it. That's what they said with pulse polio, that don't break the chain. Cover everybody in the chain. Then there are other fears, like there is a difference in quality of all batches, that there can be harmful side effects that are not known yet, or that it's bad for our kids. And then other kinds of superstitions and beliefs also come in. So I will very briefly tell you the example of one vaccine which has faced resistance in India and which unfortunately has been blocked so far. That is the human papilloma virus vaccine. HPV is a virus that causes cervical cancer among women. India has the largest load of cervical cancer or cervical cancer deaths in the whole world. Every year, 122,000 women in India suffer from cervical cancer. Every year, 67,000 women in India die of cervical cancer. That is 1.5 times more than the number of women who die in maternity. So that's 45,000. This is 67,000. So cervical cancer is a big killer. If this vaccine can be given to women when they are 11 or 12 years old, it protects them from human papilloma virus, which means it protects them from all genital warts which are caused by viruses and which are sexually transmitted, but definitely also from cervical cancer. It really improves greatly their quality of life. And if it's given to men also, it then further cuts that chain of transmission, and earlier it's given, the better, because the same virus, then HPV, also causes oral and throat cancer. So some kinds of oral and throat cancers, there is about 70 strains of that virus. By breaking that chain, you can stop all those cancers. These are all sexually transmitted. That is the important part, and some of the opposition is coming because of that. Say in Europe, in conservative Christian countries, religious countries, and also in India, from say Swadeshi Jagran Manch. So in India, regulators had cleared this vaccine quite some time back. In fact, after they had cleared it, that National Technical Advisory Group on Vaccines had also cleared it in January 2018. ICMR and the Drug Controller General of India had also cleared it. But after that, a parliamentary panel of MPs, as if they know more science than scientists, they blew the whistle and they stopped it. And Swadeshi Jagran Manch came out in opposition, saying that this was not necessary, this was under multinational pressure, and multinational pharma companies were going to make money at the cost of the Indian exchequer or Indian people. So Indian women are actually denied this as part of India's program Indradhanush, which is the composite program of universal vaccination of all children. So we are stuck with this where we were. There is a history of one clinical trial for this by Merck and GSK, the two multinationals that make these vaccines, going wrong in 2009, which went to Supreme Court. But having said that, there is no justification for this now to continue to be banned. But if Swadeshi Jagran Manch and the RSS are opposed to something, it's very difficult to get around. But Prime Minister Modi has now gotten around them on Beti Brinjal seeds, because those trials now are going on and nobody is bothering about them, and a lot of that seeds being smuggled into India now also, and nobody is getting outraged about it. But having said that, vaccine skepticism is something that you have to fight. Now, what is the best way to fight this vaccine fear or vaccine phobia or vaccine skepticism now? I agree that government erred in clearing the Covaxin just now. If it was cleared a month later when more data was available, no harm would have been done. But this is vaccine nationalism at its worst. But now that they have done it, they should now come out and create confidence. So the only people I've seen who've come out to create confidence are some leaders of government hospitals, some leaders of private hospitals also. Say someone like Dr. Pratap Reddy and Dr. Guleria, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, and Dr. V.K. Paul, who is a member of Niti Aayog, member Health Niti Aayog. They've come and taken these vaccines and they said this is safe. But I will just give you some examples from around the world. Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, and the ruler of Saudi Arabia, who's in mid-80s, they both taken their shots. Benjamin Netanyahu, Joe Biden, these have all taken their shots in public. Why? To inspire popular confidence. Boris Johnson, Jair Bolsonaro, all of them have done it. We haven't seen any Indian public figure, no Prime Minister, no President, no Chief Minister, nobody. They somehow seem to be still stuck in the idea that they will take it later. Now, for India to build confidence, it is worrying that the confidence is so lacking that 4 out of 5 medical personnel also in key states are not coming in to take their shots. The only way to fight this is for public figures to come and set an example and inspire confidence. So I hope that will be done in the next couple of days. Otherwise, India would, for the first time since the fight against COVID began, India will see a setback.